Hello, what's up, parents? Welcome to today's Facebook Live. Let me introduce myself for those of you who are brand new to this group. I am Brianna. I am the founder of this group, and I help teen girls and young women end anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts, self-harm, eating disorders, self-loathing, so that they can really step into their power, their confidence, and love themselves. And today, we're doing a Facebook Live with the topic, what is going on with all of these girls who are trying to kill themselves and all of the suicidal thoughts that they are just swimming in every single day. So it's an important topic. This is not the first time I've come on a Facebook Live talking about this topic, but there's always new parents coming into this group every single day that I need to continue talking about this important topic, because I know some parents are not going down the, Facebook feed to see Facebook Lives from a month ago or 2 months ago. So sometimes I do repeat the topics because it's important and I have to keep talking about this, because the numbers, the amount of girls and young women that are taking their lives because, they're so stuck in the struggle with their mental health, it really needs to change. And so I'm going to be talking about this for a very long time, because the mental health system is flawed, and we need to look at other approaches that are going to help these girls who are really struggling. So if you are joining me live, let me know you are here live. Just go ahead and type in live under the comments. If you are not live, no worries, all good. You can just go ahead, if you're watching the replay, go ahead and type in replay, just so I know who's here, so I don't feel like I'm doing a monologue here. Don't get me wrong, monologues are great and all, but hey, Kristen, happy to have you here. And also, leave any questions or comments or concerns or anything that you're experiencing with your daughter as it relates to mental health or suicidal thoughts, or really anything. Leave those comments below. I mean, if you happen to join me live and what I'm saying resonates, please feel free to, leave any questions. And the same goes for if you're watching the replay, leave your questions here and I'll definitely come back and respond to each and every one of them. So I want to talk about why so many girls are struggling with their mental health, but specifically in regards to suicide, suicidal thoughts, and suicidal attempts. The amount of girls that I have coming to me, the amount of girls that I have coming into my program that have been affected by having suicidal thoughts or suicide attempts is, it's a high number. It doesn't surprise me anymore when girls come to me and, they just tried to take their lives. Could be a week ago, could be a month ago, right? It's happening more and more and more. And so we have to take a look at what is going on here. What's the problem and what needs to change so these girls are not living in their own personal hell every single day, not wanting to be here, thinking that they are a waste of space, and just wanting to die. Not only that, but putting a plan into action of how they are actually going to take their lives, because it's very, very scary, and we have to talk about this. We can't just pretend it's not happening. And one of the things that often happens is if your daughter is having suicidal thoughts or if she's already tried to take her life, the common approach is take your daughter to the hospital, put her in inpatient, after inpatient, put her in outpatient, and get an IOP or get some sort of program for her to help her get on a path so she can start feeling better. My question to all of you is that working? Right? Is it working? Because what I have heard from so many girls who I've spoken to and who have come into my program, and I've spoken to so many parents about this as well, is that going into the inpatient or going into the hospital can actually be so traumatizing for some of these girls. Now, I know safety is the biggest concern, and if your daughter has try to take her life, you're going to do everything in your power to make sure, one, she's safe, and two, so she can start feeling better, right? But the thing is, are all of these things actually working? And for a lot of girls, it's not. And if it's working for your daughter, then that's fantastic. But I'm not talking to you probably. If it's working for your daughter, I'm talking to all of those parents where that's not working. It's not the case. And then your daughter has tried to take her life, and she comes out of inpatient, she comes home, and you're like, shit, what are we gonna do? Because not only is safety a concern, but your daughter's like mental health and well-being and just like her thoughts and where they're going each and every day is also a major, major problem. And I speak to girls every single day doing the work that I do. And I often hear from those girls who have suicidal thoughts or who have tried to take their lives, a lot of them don't actually want to die. They want the pain to go away. And that's something we need to take a look at. They don't actually want to die. They want the pain to go away. Now, what kind of pain are we talking about? Is it physical pain? Probably not. Is it emotional pain? Absolutely it is. So what's the emotional pain that's getting more and more girls wanting to kill themselves? And for a lot of those girls actually taking action on that, right? So we have to look at what is going on in our society, in our world, that teaches these girls that, hey, it's not okay to feel your feelings, or you got to stuff them down, or you don't know how to process. These girls don't know how to process through their feelings and emotions. So what happens when you don't know how to process through your feelings and emotions? And adults are there as well. They don't always know how to do this either. But let's talk about teen girls and young women. What happens when your daughter goes through could be trauma, a traumatic experience, a traumatic event. It could be a breakup with a boyfriend or a girlfriend. It could be the loss of like a best friend. It could be someone passing away. It could be being bullied at school. There's a number of things that can be happening to your daughter. Now, what does she do when life is giving her all of these challenges and these obstacles if she doesn't know how to process her feelings and emotions? I talk about this all the time. What happens? Well, they stuff it down. It's too painful, it's too much, they don't want to feel it, and so they push it down, they push it down, and they push it down, okay? There's no class in school that teaches them how to actually feel their feelings. Human beings, we are meant to feel our feelings, we're meant to feel a range of emotions, but girls don't know how to do that, and they're not being taught this in school. And unless you are teaching them this, they don't know how to process their feelings, their emotions, their trauma, their pain. They don't know what to do with it. So why is cutting an epidemic? Why are suicidal thoughts and suicidal attempts such a big problem? Why are they going to that? Because they've never been taught how to process their feelings and emotions. It's easier to say, you know what? I want to check out. I want to die. I don't want to be here. We were just talking about this yesterday on one of my group coaching sessions with the girls. We were talking about what happens when they don't want to feel their feelings and emotions and where they go, right? I asked the girls, where do you go when you're feeling a lot and it's too much and it's too painful? What happens? And a lot of the girls say, you know, they run, they hide, they go on social media, they try to sleep it off, right? For a lot of girls out there, they're cutting. For a lot of girls out there, they're doing drugs, they're drinking. A lot of girls are going to, I just want to die, and then the suicidal thoughts come in. Or it goes to the extreme of, I want to take my life, and then they go into action mode. How am I going to do that? right? Now, if we bring it back, where is this all coming from? It's the inability to feel and process through their emotions and their feelings. That is it. That's it. And so when they start understanding that they can feel a range of emotions, they can feel sadness, they can feel grief, they can feel shame, they can feel abandonment, they can feel anger, they can feel resentment, they can feel bitterness, they can feel depression, anxiety, like they can feel it all. And sometimes they're feeling like 10 of them all, it's like a juggling act, and they feel it all. And that's okay, it's not a bad thing. They think it's a bad thing when they feel all of this and they don't want to do it, right? So they'll try to run from it because it's too much. But when they actually learn what to do when they're feeling all of this, then it's like they have a game plan, for lack of a better word. They have a game plan. They know what to do, and then they can do something about it. Most girls out there don't know what to do, and they're at a loss. So a boyfriend or girlfriend breaks up with them, and their thought is, I want to kill myself because somebody doesn't love me. Well, because I don't love myself, right? Or let's say a girl has a horrible fight with her parents, and she's feeling so distraught and overwhelmed, and she goes to the place of, well, I don't want to be here anymore. I'm such a burden. It would be better if I weren't around anymore. Right? Now, we also have to take a look at, there's more than just one thing. It's not just the suppression of all of the feelings and emotions. We also have to take a look at, your daughter doesn't understand her mind and how it works. There is this thing, it is called an ego. And this ego is talking smack to your daughter 24/7. It's telling her that she's a piece of crap. It's telling her that she's a waste of space. That ego is telling her that she's ugly, or that she's fat, or that she's not enough, or that she doesn't deserve to be here. So her ego is it's just running amok. It's just boom, boom, boom. You're not enough. You're fat. You're ugly. Da 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 da. And it keeps going and going and going. And your daughter, because she doesn't know how to do any of this work on mastery of the mind, and she's like, oh shit. She doesn't know what to do, right? And so most girls don't understand the difference between their ego and getting them into their heart. Now, the work that I do with teen girls and young women is to get them out of here and to get them into here. Okay, now this is a practice. It doesn't happen overnight. But when your daughter can look at these thoughts and recognize that they are not hers, they're her ego, there's a difference, right? And then she can start practicing getting into her heart. Now, what's her heart all about? Her heart is like, oh girl, you're amazing. You're so beautiful. Her heart is compassionate. It's loving. It's self-respecting. It's all of these things. But your daughter, here's the other problem. If your daughter is struggling with suicidal thoughts, anxiety, depression, self-loathing, cutting, eating disorders, all of that stuff, she doesn't know how to get into her heart because she's been living in her ego for so many years. So when she's living in her ego, she is disconnected to herself. I will say it again. When she's living in her ego, she is disconnected with herself. Now, this work is about getting your daughter back into alignment with who she truly is. And the only way she's going to get there is by bringing her back into her heart. Now, if any of you think that this is woo-woo, I'm here to tell you it's not. It's not. Here's the deal, and here's why so many girls are suffering going through the regular, I don't know what you would call it, like the regular approach, the conventional approach, the therapy, the medication, the this, then that, all the things. None of that stuff actually helps your daughter connect with who she truly is. Okay? Therapy may work, but in my experience from all the girls who come to me who've said therapy has not done anything for them, it hasn't worked for them. If it's working for your daughter, fantastic. But the girls that come to me, it hasn't. And they've been struggling for years. I've had girls come to me that have been struggling for decades. Not decades. It's a long time. It's a long time to be struggling. And what happens the longer your daughter is struggling, the more she loses hope that anything can actually help her. And the more you will lose hope that anything can actually help her. And I'm here to tell you, there is a way. And no, it's not a way that the doctor is going to recommend, or it's not something that the therapist is going to recommend, because this is outside of the box. Now, a lot of parents want to go the cookie cutter way. The therapy, the medication, the inpatient, the outpatient, it's like this. Like, we're just going to go this way. But here's what happens when you open up your eyes to all the possibilities that are out there. There's not just this way. It opens up, and there's so many other possibilities that you can be exploring to help your daughter. It's not only for your daughter to say, yes, I want the help. It's also for you to open your mind to what else is possible for your daughter. Because there are other ways, there are other approaches, right? But if you're trying to go cookie cutter all the way, you will go one way. The parents who have, booked calls with me and end up enrolling their daughters into my program, it's like, no, they're looking out here. Because out here, there's so many more possibilities. But you can't see it if you're just going this way. So, going back to this disconnection, right? So many girls are disconnected with themselves. They don't know who they are. They put all of their worth and their value in the external instead of in the internal. They put their worth and value on their grades and their achievements and their successes and whether people like them or whether people approve of them or all of that stuff. That has nothing to do with your daughter's worth and her value. And the longer that your daughter is disconnected with herself and she thinks that her worthiness comes from outside of her, the longer she's going to struggle. We have to go back to basics. The self-love piece is foundational. It's the foundation. So when we talk about your daughter, if she's struggling with suicidal thoughts and if she has tried to take her life, there's a disconnect going on. She doesn't know who she is. She doesn't have a clue. If she did know who she is, she wouldn't resort to trying to kill herself or cutting herself or whatever else, or eating disorder or whatever else that she may be struggling with, right? Because again, what is she doing? She's pushing it down, she's pushing it down, she's pushing it down. She doesn't want to feel the pain. Let me tell you something about that emotional pain that your daughter doesn't want to feel. It's not going anywhere the more that she tries to run from it or she's trying to avoid it. It's not going to go anywhere. It's going to get louder. It's going to get stronger. It's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. It is trying to get your daughter's attention. And the more that we mask it, the more that we medicate it, oh, it's not okay for you to feel that. So we're going to medicate this. Don't give me hate mail on this. I am not against medication. But I also believe that if you're going to go the route of the medication, your daughter also has to do the healing work in combination. Medication on itself without healing from trauma, medication on itself without doing the self-love work, medication on itself without teaching your daughter any life skills to help her move forward in her life in a productive, successful, fulfilling way. Like, what is that? So we have to look at all of these things, because all of these things, when your daughter doesn't know how to love herself and she's not processing her feelings and emotions, and she doesn't have the life skills to be independent, to be self-sufficient, what does she have? What's the point to life? What is the point to life when these girls are struggling and they're in this rat race of like, oh my God, I have to get A's, and oh my God, I get so many girls who come to me that are like complete perfectionists. And they're like, oh my God, I have to get straight A's, and who am I if I don't get those A's, and who am I if I don't get into that college, and oh my God, my life is gonna be over. Is it? Is it going to be over? Or have you just put all of your worth and value on the external things, the grades, the achievements, what college you get into? Is that everything? Again, disconnection with your daughter is disconnected from herself. So we have to take a look at this. Now, going back to the suicidal thoughts and your daughter, if she has tried to kill herself. And if you guys are watching live, if any of you are like struggling with this, you've had your daughter has been struggling with this, please, leave a comment or a question below and I'm happy to answer while I'm here. So your daughter is suppressing her emotions. She doesn't want to feel it. She's also disconnected with herself. And also she hasn't done any work on her mindset. Now, the mindset piece is actually really, really important because when I talked earlier, if you've been watching this from the beginning, I talked about your daughter living in her ego and not in her heart. And now what happens when we live in our ego, which is the false self, it's the shadow self, it's not even who we really are, and we're not living in our heart. We're not living in our soul. We're not living in the truth of who we are. Then we're living a lie. And I'm here to tell all of you that your daughter is living a lie the more that she lives in her ego. Again, her ego is the place that's going to tell her that she is worthless, that she doesn't matter, that she's not important, that she doesn't deserve to be here. Now, the longer your daughter lives in that, the worse it's going to get. And so, yes, of course, more and more girls are suicidal and trying to take their lives because they're living a lie. And that lie is going to bust at one point or another. They can't keep going on this way. They can't keep feeling this way. It's too hard. It's too much. They just want to give up. Sorry. And again, they don't know any of this work. All they know is what they hear in their head every single day. And the constant thoughts of self-hatred, of self-loathing, just becomes too much for them. And they can't bear it. It's just like, they're just like out of point. This stuff doesn't come on just like that. This stuff has been brewing for a while now. If your daughter has tried to kill herself, if your daughter is having suicidal thoughts, this stuff doesn't just happen overnight. She's been struggling for a while. And a lot of you don't even know that your daughter is struggling because she does a really good job with masking it. She masks it. She puts on a little happy face, pretends everything is fine. You don't know what's really going on with her. What is really going on with your daughter? So there's a lot of pieces here to the puzzle of why your daughter is either suicidal or having suicidal thoughts. But the real main pieces that I have to bring this back to is your daughter being disconnected with who she is. Your daughter not understanding how to get back into her heart and live in her heart because she's living a lie. Every day that she says she hates herself, that she's living a lie. Every day that she says that she's a burden on the people that she loves, she's living a lie. And what a wasted life to live a lie. Don't you want your daughter to live in the truth, in her full empowerment of who she really is? I mean, that's what we want for these girls. That's what you want for your daughter. So if you've tried all the things and really nothing is working, if you're fed up, if you're just exhausted, your daughter is exhausted, you're spinning your wheels, you're wondering if anything is going to help your daughter, I'm here to tell you that there is a way. There is a way. It's not, you're not lost. Your daughter can get the help, but it all starts with the right help. If you have listened this far, if you're just tuning in, I definitely watch this from the beginning because there's a lot of good information in here. And if you would like more information about the work that I do, watch my free masterclass. I will leave it below. It's called Healing the New Medicine for Anxiety and Depression. Once you watch that, if your daughter wants the help, you can go ahead and just schedule a call with me. But I do say that your daughter has to want the help for this to work. I have a very, very high success rate for those girls and young women who come into my program. And the reason I have such a high success rate, well, one of the reasons I have such a high success rate is because I don't let just anybody come into my program. They have to want it. They have to be committed. They have to really, truly want to transform their lives. If they're not there yet, that's okay, but I just can't help them until they are ready to have that transformation. Otherwise, it's an uphill battle all the way. So if this is speaking to you, if this resonates, you can watch my masterclass and go ahead and book a call. And if you have any questions or anything that you want answered, please leave it below. I'm gonna have to run. I have a call right now with actually parents and a girl. So we're gonna rock that call right now. But again, if you have any questions, leave them below. And I'm sending you guys all so much love. Have an amazing rest of your day. Bye for now.